Howdy, gang, and welcome to yet another edition of Everybody Wants England. Here's the thing, folks. We are winding down these episodes for Everybody Wants England. Believe it or not, we are. Um, but I just want to say before we get to the final week, which is not going to be next week, we're probably going to have two, maybe three more weeks of Everybody Wants England. I want to say that I have enjoyed this thoroughly. I have discovered some new favorites, both in and out of the horror genre. I've discovered new favorites that Robert Englund is in. Um, in fact, I ended up buying 2001 Maniacs just because I liked it so much upon watching it for Everybody Wants England. And so I have enjoyed it, even some of them that were stinkers, right? Because everybody in their catalog of films, or their filmography rather, has had stinkers. Directors have had stinkers. Actors and actresses have had stinkers. But it seems like I found something to enjoy even in the stinkers, whether it was, most of the time it was Robert Englund's performance, because he could make anything better. And I still stand behind that. It that has nothing to do with me meeting him at the past Horror Hound weekend. That was a plus for me because he was a bucket list person for me. And even though, like I said before, and have said several times since that weekend, even though it was quick, it was something I'll remember for the rest of my life. And there's only a handful of meetings with celebrities that I feel that way about. I haven't really had any bad experiences with celebrities at conventions anyway. The only thing I've ever had is an underwhelming experience. I've never had anyone be a jerk to me that I've met. Um, so, uh, and Robert Englund was just like the cherry on top of the sundae, right? Um, he really, even in that short space of time, was a complete gentleman, a very nice man, and took all the time that he could possibly take with each person that came into that photo booth to get a picture with him. So what have I got coming up for the rest of the week? I finally decided on something for Apples and Oranges tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to talk about Scream. Probably not the entire franchise, but I'm going to talk about the original Scream. And we're going to discuss. I'm not sure if I'm going to have any guests on here with me, but I hope that there will be, in any event, I hope there will be some people in the chat that want to discuss whether you feel like Scream revitalized a genre that was dead in the water. And by that, I mean the horror genre. Or do you think it hindered it? Do you think it set it down a spiral where the horror genre got worse because of Scream? So I want to hear everybody's thoughts tomorrow night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, whether you want to be on here live with me or you want to discuss it in the chat. Either way is fine. Or if you can't, if you want to, watch it on the replay and make your own determination. Maybe you haven't even thought about Scream in a while, right? And I'm probably going to refresh myself on Scream as well, just, because I enjoy Scream, which may tell you which side of the lake I'm going to be on. I don't need an excuse to watch Scream or any other movie, but, sometimes I say, I'm going to rewatch this because I haven't rewatched it in a while because I'm doing, a particular stream or a video on it or something to do with it. Um, but let me see if I can find my Robert Englund list, because what I was going to do, not that one, um, I was going to tell y'all what I was going to cover. And maybe I can actually give you the, how many more weeks. Now, I've cut this down, many of the retrospectives down from 3 movies to 2 movies a night. So we're going to be talking about Fear Clinic and Lake Placid versus Anaconda tonight. Then I'm planning on next week, on Tuesday, The Transylvanian Curse and Funhouse Massacre, both from 2015, neither of which I've seen. Then Midnight Man and Night World, Door of Hell. And this is all contingent upon whether I can find these movies or not. Next is Campfire Creepers, The Skull of Sam from 2017, and Commune from 2021. The next week will be, maybe there were more weeks than I thought because I'm only doing 2 movies. Choose or Die from 2022 and Abruptio from 2023. And I have heard that Natty Knox is coming out soon, but is not out yet. So we will probably end, I may just go ahead and cover Under the Bed from 2023 when I do Choose or Die and Abruptio. And that will mean we've got about 4 more weeks. So we got a month left of Everybody Wants England. So never fear. There is more. There's a little more to come. Okay. And then I will be more than likely moving on to a Steven Spielberg retrospective, which will take the place of Everybody Wants England on Tuesday nights. Okay. So Thursday is another Kubrick Among Us. And let's see what the next 2 movies for Kubrick Among Us, in case you were wondering or didn't hear me say from the last Kubrick Among Us. I will be covering Spartacus from 1960 and Lolita from 1962. And then the following week will be Dr. Strangelove and 2001 A Space Odyssey. The week after will be A Clockwork Orange and Barry Lyndon. And then probably to finish up Kubrick Among Us, I will do The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut. So we can look forward to all of that coming up this week. In addition to, it is my plan for Friday Foolish, this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, for Candace and I to continue kind of where me and Chris left off for last Wednesday's Apples and Oranges, where we talked about horror comedies. So me and Candace are going to be expanding on that and talking about some more horror comedies on Friday Foolish this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And then I'm probably only going to be doing one watch along, and that will be Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be for Dario Argento's Phenomenon. I'm planning on finally doing it, folks. So hopefully you guys and gals will be able to join me for that. And then we won't have watch-alongs the following weekend of any kind. This is kind of a makeup watch-along. And then they will return. And in the month of October, it's going to be Fulci Fall. So we're going to have a whole lot of Fulci coming up in October. Plus, be sure to be on the lookout for the Universal Monsters Friday Foolish special that me and Candace will be doing on a Friday upcoming in October. There'll also be some Fulci watch alongs and all of that good stuff. So, without further ado, let's get to these Robert Englund movies. So, the first one, I had never seen Fear Clinic. I had heard of Fear Clinic. Steve and I had been married about a year when Fear Clinic came out. It was one that I heard in passing, but for whatever reason, did not, actually sit down and watch. Um, I don't know if I said it was from 2014, but it was. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed Fear Clinic. Um, there was one character that kind of annoyed me at first, and I'll get to that in just a second. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a tight knit little horror film and very bizarre. Had some bizarre imagery in it. Um, kind of kind of made you feel sort of druggy, like like you were on an acid trip or a mushroom trip. Not that I would know because I've never taken any of those substances, but it's just a very wild ride. So um, I want to get the guy's name right um, that directed this. And unfortunately, I don't have an actual physical copy, but this is one I'm thinking of buying because I liked it so much. There was also a series, like I wouldn't call it well, I guess they technically in 2009, Fear Clinic was a TV series with Robert Englund and Kane Hodder on it. But this is the movie. Um, and in a nutshell, it's about a doctor played by Robert Englund, Dr. Andover, who works to cure patients suffering from crippling phobias by placing them inside an invention which induces and controls hallucinations. I know for one, just watching the people being put into um, this invention that I couldn't stand it. There's actually a woman who's an associate that works with Dr. Andover who says that you cured my claustrophobia by putting me in here. I was like, I don't know how you could do that, but I think I would lose my mind. But this is directed by Robert Hall. Fiona Dourif is also in this, Brad Dourif's daughter. And I think she's really good in this. She plays one of the main characters in this. Um, so, like I said, Robert Englund plays Dr. Andover. Fiona Dourif plays Sarah. Um, Corey Taylor, who you will see um, prominently in the Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story, plays Bauer in this. I was trying to see if there were any other recognizable names here, but I'm not really seeing any. Um, so the kind of like the wraparound story, the reason why the majority of the people in this film go to the Fear Clinic is because and this is unfortunately timely, and has been timely for the last few years. Um, they were victims of a shooting in a restaurant where an individual busted into the restaurant with a very creepy mask on and starts shooting people, including a young boy. And by young boy, I mean a child. So you don't actually see that, but just the thought of it is very disturbing. So, like I said, Robert Englund plays Dr. Andover, and he created this uh, chamber or whatever they call it. It may be a chamber that they call it. And he puts people into the chamber and they have a mask over their face. And he also has a mask and he is communicating with them. I think they may both have some kind of headset on. And he tells them to just relax and listen to the sound of his voice. It's almost like a hypnotic trance that they go into. And he talks to them and says, can you see the restaurant, or where are you, and are you inside the restaurant, and can you see the shooter, and just different things to develop, I guess, a sense of surroundings. And you see him doing this with a young woman, and something goes horribly wrong, and she ends up dying while in the chamber. And that sends Dr. Andover into a very downward spiral where he loses faith in himself, he loses faith in his treatments, which was basically the treatment of different phobias. Fiona Dorff's character of Sarah was actually scared of the dark. That was her main phobia, even before the shooting incident in the restaurant. In fact, she talks about that. She said, My phobia was fear of the dark. And she said when the shooter started following her in the restaurant, and she just kept trying to crawl away and get away. And then the shooter began to shoot out the fluorescent lights in the ceiling, and it just became almost complete darkness. She was actually more scared of the dark than she was the shooter, because I think what it was we all, I think, have a fear of the unknown, right? So if you're in total darkness, you don't know what's going to come out of that darkness. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's lurking in corners. It's very scary not to be able to see, which is probably why when people that could previously see and go blind for whatever reason, it's a very, very frightening experience, because that is not anything that you can escape from. You can't go to a lighted area if you can't see. But there are no people that are blind in this. We simply have a group of people that have different phobias. And, I was thinking there were going to be different phobias, as in, people are afraid of bugs, like roaches. And they do show a quick scene at the beginning when Dr. Andover is talking about his theory and him building the chamber and beginning to use it to treat patients with different phobias. But once we get into the meat of the film, it becomes centered upon people primarily that were victims of this shooting in the restaurant. So we have another young woman, um, and her boyfriend, who I guess he does like YouTube videos or something, and he's a sensation on YouTube or a similar social media outlet. And he's with this is her boyfriend, and then I'm guessing this little boy, Kevin, um, is her. I'm guessing it's her child. It may be his and hers, or she could have had the kid before she met this guy. I don't think that's ever really explained, but you go back and you see flashbacks of before the shooting incident, and you see her and the boyfriend sitting on a bench in the park, and Kevin coming up to him and them talking him into going, even though it's cold, talking to him about going into the restaurant across the street to get a milkshake. And it's there that we find out that unfortunately, Kevin uh, was killed by the shooter. Um, I don't want to give away who the shooter turns out to be because that was a good twist. Um, and I would love to see what your guys and gals thoughts are, especially if you have not seen it before. This is your first time watch, like it was for me tonight. To see what you think of that twist. I think it really works. In hindsight, I could see some people seeing it coming, but I guess I had, my radar wasn't on, and so I didn't really catch that. But some of you might. But I thought it was a nice little twist. Um, so you do have a scene where Sarah's friend, who is also suffering from phobias. She's the character that kind of annoyed me. Um, the character of, the character of Megan, played by Cleopatra Coleman, because I don't know if she was just supposed to be this oddball character. Um, but so Sarah decides that she's got to go back to the fear clinic because she's having nightmares about the shooting again, and she's seeing the masked shooter, and she's like, I got to get back to the clinic. Well, that's what everybody. I'm guessing it's been several years or something, and I'm guessing that the people are starting to have flashbacks. They thought they were cured. They thought that Dr. Andover in his chamber had cured them. But for some reason, the stuff is coming back. They're having nightmares and stuff. And nothing that Dr. Andover told them previously is helping. So after the one girl dies, like I said, Dr. Andover kind of closes up shop. He closes up his clinic. And I'm guessing the last remaining employees are planning on, leaving, finding other jobs or whatever. So Sarah gets there, and, Bauer, the character of Bauer, tells her, we're closed. He keeps telling people that for a while, but she's like, well, I've got to see Dr. Andover, you know. And that is when she discovers that Dr. Andover is basically went into a depressed state. He doesn't believe in his chamber anymore. The chamber is in the basement. It evidently has been there for a while since the one girl died. He basically wants nothing to do with it, nothing to do with that treatment anymore. That he feels like he has failed his patients. So I don't want to give away all of the little intricacies and twists and turns along the way. I would rather you guys and gals see it for yourself. See if you can figure out the reality within this bizarre little nugget of a film. But again, I enjoyed this very, very much so. Um, and I would recommend it. I mean, um, like I said, there's the one character that kind of annoys me, and I didn't get to why she annoys me. But when Sarah goes to the clinic and she calls her friend just blurts out, please tell me you're getting an abortion. And she just says weird off the wall stuff like that during the majority of the first quarter of the film until she actually, um, Sarah sends Bauer. Well, she tries to send Bauer out, and Bauer kind of says, I can let you have a car, but it'll cost you, you know. And that's when Robert Englund's character of Dr. Andover comes in and says, is there a problem here? So I don't think Bauer is sleazy in so much as he would have attacked Sarah. But he might have got a little touchy feely, but Dr. Andover interrupts that, and he tells Bauer to um, go and pick up Sarah's friend and bring her to the clinic. Um, and after that, she's pretty much okay, other than being hysterical most of the time. But she's not saying oddball things like she was in the beginning. And maybe that was just part of showing how she was damaged. But I really enjoyed this. I would highly recommend it. You can watch it for free. There is a version you can rent or buy, but just skim past that and you will find a 720p version that looks very good. I watched it on our big TV in the living room, and it looked very good. So I think if you look up Fear Clinic full movie, um, you probably will find it even faster than I did. Um, so I'll give it my rating. I'm not going to give it 5 deadites out of 5. Trying to be a little bit more choosy about things that I give 5 deadites out of 5, but I will give it a 4 deadites out of 5, almost a 4.5, because I just really, really like the setup for this. I think Robert Hall's direction was fantastic in this. I thought Robert Englund was fantastic as Dr. Andover. Uh, Fiona Dourif, I enjoyed her. I thought she was really, really good in this. A lot of the other characters were interesting in this. I thought Corey Taylor did a great job as the slightly sleazy Bauer. Um, and, so I think everybody just kind of rounded out the cast, right? Um, there were some kind of goofy, funny moments in it, but not many. Most of this was a dark, frightening, bizarre, image-filled film. Um, so that is Fear Clinic, and so the next one is a kooky little gem called Lake Placid versus Anaconda. Yes, another Lake Placid and Anaconda movie. Um, I didn't know there was Lake Placid, the final chapter, which also had Robert Englund in it, and I talked about on a previous Everybody Wants England. But there's also Lake Placid versus Anaconda, and it was fun for what it was. I didn't expect a whole lot from this, but I did like Robert Englund's character of Corman, who is kind of a salty poacher guy. But I really enjoy watching Robert Englund work in any movie he's in, right? So let me give you a plot, which, this is not, guys and gals, this is not going to be a very complicated plot. Um, I'm just wondering how many of you guys and gals knew there was a Lake Placid versus Anaconda. This is actually listed as a TV movie. I think it showed up on the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah, the special effects, the CG and all that is insanely fake looking, but I still found it fun. It has the tagline Crocs on the dock, snakes on the lake. So, what it's about is a giant crocodile goes head to head with a giant anaconda. The town sheriff must find a way to destroy the two monsters before they kill the whole town. So, not only do you have crocodiles, but you have anacondas attacking people. So, and you got a bunch of stupid chicks in bikinis out on the beach getting eaten by a crocodile. So that's always fun, right? You've got this giant, very fake looking CG snake, Anaconda, that's attacking people. And then you got Robert Englund as Corman, and you have Yancey Butler playing the town sheriff, who I believe Yancey Butler was in the Lake Placid, the final chapter. So I don't know. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a fun little um, comedy horror, I guess. Like I said, made primarily for the Sci-Fi Channel, I believe. But I could watch Robert Englund all day long. I mean, I could just watch every scene that he's in. Um, Now they've got him listed as Jim Bickerman in this, but I could have sworn when I watched the credits that they said his name was Corman. So I guess if you want to go by the credits at the end of the movie, or you want to go by what IMDb has, it's your choice. Um, Corin Nemec plays Toll in this. I was trying to see if there was any other like recognizable names, and again, I'm not seeing any. Um, so maybe it was Jim Bickerman. He is a poacher. He's now got one eye. He wears an eye patch, and he's also got a fake leg. Um, he was literally the one-eyed survivor of the reptilian attack in Lake Placid, the final chapter from 2012. But now he's joined forces with a pharmaceutical company to catch a crocodile for their bizarre crossbreeding experiments. And there is a whole scene near the beginning of the film with that. But like all of these movies, nothing goes as planned. And the once fenced off area near Maine's Black Lake, which was where Lake Placid, the final chapter, took place, is overrun with ravenous crocodiles and killer anacondas, threatening to devour not only the people in the town, but also a team of college sorority girls. That is the dumb chicks that I was talking about that get eaten in the lake. And so it's up to no nonsense Sheriff Reba, along with the Fish and Wildlife Officer Will Toll, to stop not only the crocodiles but the anacondas. Um, but I know it's goofy. I know that essentially it's only a time waster. But I had fun. That's the important thing. I had fun with both this one and Lake Placid, the final chapter. I loved Robert Englund's performance in both of these films. He made them that much better. When you watch Robert Englund work, you can kind of forget the bad CGI and some of the goofy sorority girls and all of that. So, um, yeah, I enjoyed it. I did not dislike it. I didn't hate it, of course. Um, Bad CG or not, you get to watch Robert Englund work, and some of the other characters weren't bad. Yeah, I don't think Yancey Butler's bad in this. I think she's fun to watch. And of course, it has a stinger near the end, but I'm not going to give that away. Just letting you know, there is a stinger at the end. Really no surprise in movies like this. There almost always is. So I know. I don't have my half yet. Shame on me. But I am going to give Lake Placid versus Anaconda 3.5 deadites out of 5. Wasn't quite a 4, wasn't quite a 3, somewhere in the middle there. Again, I felt like this one was worth a watch, not only for Robert Englund's very fun and established performance, but just because overall it just has a kooky, time wasting feel to it. You don't have to expend a lot of brain power. In fact, I don't think you got to expend any brain power on this. This is just a movie that you put on a lazy Sunday afternoon. And I don't say this to be derogatory towards it, but it's one of those that you could doze off for a few minutes and wake up and get right back into the movie. That's how little brain power you have to expend to watch a movie like this. And sometimes you just need movies like that. You don't, the last thing you want is a really complicated plot line in a movie, even if the movie is fantastic, to put on a lazy Sunday afternoon or a lazy Saturday afternoon for that matter, where, you got all your chores done for the day and you're just sitting down and you just want mindless entertainment. This fits the bill. And there's nothing wrong with mindless entertainment. I watch a lot of mindless entertainment. Again, that's not a derogatory term to attach to a movie like this. In fact, I almost think of it as a compliment. All right. So I guess that's it for me, as far as talking about these two films for Everybody Wants England tonight. I'm going to be uploading this shortly, so you should see it on the channel very soon. And if you don't get to watch it tonight, hey, it'll be up there. You can give it a watch at a later time. You can even wait for the weekend to, sometimes people wait until the weekend to get caught up on all their favorite channels and the stuff that's on the channels. And but I want to thank everybody that checks this video out. We are still continuing Everybody Wants England, and be sure to tune in tomorrow night, if all goes well, for another Apples and Oranges. We're going to be talking about Scream. And did it help the horror genre? Did it raise it from the dead? Or did it cause a bunch of clones, some of them not so good, that took the horror genre into places it shouldn't have gone? So we're going to talk about all that tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope many of you can join me so we can have a good discussion. I hope to have a guest on here, but nothing's 100%. Nothing's ever set in stone, right? I'm going to try my best though. But anyway, I'm off like a dirty shirt. And I know I wore this shirt like 2 days in a row, but it's not dirty because guess what? I wore it at the end of the day. I got this in the evening and I changed the shirt I had on. And I know what, I don't have to explain to you guys and gals, but some people might say, well, Dana's wearing the same shirt she was last night. Why, yes, I am. But, this is a really cool shirt. By the way, for those of you that did not get to see my night marathon shirt with Joe Bob and Darcy on it, this is one of the cooler designs. I like all the designs for Joe Bob stuff, but this is one of my favorites, I think. I think it's really, really cool. And you can pick up your own. I think they still got some at Fright Rags. So check that out. And for those people that complain about the prices of Fright Rags, by the way, Fright Rags has a point system going now where I'm not sure if I had to sign up or not, but for something about every dollar you spend, you get so many points, and you can go up so many tiers. And then I had several thousand points, so I was able to get this shirt for a total of $3. Whereas a lot of their shirts are like $35 now. So there's that. And so I'm off like a dirty shirt. But before I go, I want to remind everybody, as I always do, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday night, folks. And let's kick hump day and make it have another hump. And I will see everybody next time.